Hey, everybody, welcome in to a special Thursday little Packer chat, little Aaron Rodgers chat, little reminder about something awesome out there you should probably check out. And we'll get to that in a second, too. But welcome in. If you have any things to chat about, throw them in there. I'll be paying attention. This little chat, most of it's going to be up to you, what we talk about. I got a couple things to say, and then if anybody jumps on and chimes in, I'll say something about that stuff, tell you what I think. Kind of like Aaron Rodgers told you what he thought yesterday, which is pretty it's good stuff. I mean, maybe some of it you didn't like what he said if you're a diehard like team person or whatever, Packer person, but um yeah, I think he was frank, honest, laid stuff out. Um told you he answered all the questions. Um told you what he was feeling, told you what the situation was about, his perspective on things, and for the most part, I was down with him. I was down with what he was saying. I get it. I see his point of view. I think he's got a lot of good points within that. And you got to know when he was naming off players that the team either parted ways with prematurely or in a bad way or didn't even offer contracts to, when he dropped my man Micah Hyde's name, sold. I was sold right there. But I liked all the rest of the stuff he said too, for the most part. Of course, some people are spinning it, trying to take it out of context, trying to make more out of it than it was. I think it's really interesting, right? That a person can, um, like, granted, okay, the first little bit, he had some things he wanted to say. He um, made sure he said those things kind of in the opening address. But then he's not going to know what questions people are going to ask him. So for some of these pontificators and people on all these other networks, again, the stuff they say when they're trying to like spin it or trying to turn it into something it's not or whatever, or say, well, he said this, but he really said this, or really meant this. Yeah, that gets me a lot. When you say something, but then someone's trying to tell you you really meant something else, like that's just burns me as a communicator. As a communications professional, it burns me a lot because what people say matters. And a lot of times, in most cases, we've got to look at what they say, consider that, and consider that maybe what they say is what they mean before we start, jumping off in other tangents. But these guys got to stir people up and they got to create ratings. And they see Skip Bayless say crazy stuff like, the Bucks are not as good of a team with Giannis as the centerpiece as they are with him not in there. Skip Bayless said that on his television show. Ridiculous stuff. So I get it. That's what some people do. Doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it good. Just means they're trying to go for ratings and stuff, right? That's got to be what they're trying to do. Go for ratings. Get those ratings, baby. Yeah. No, cut it out. Cut it out with all that. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. Okay, well, I hope people have a good night. I hope you guys are doing well on this fine Thursday. The weather is changing here in Wisconsin, so that's a nice thing. We had some storms run through and some crazy stuff overnight. That was kind of wild. But finally, the humidity is breaking a bit. We got some nice weather coming up. I'm looking forward to that. As growing up in the northeastern part of the state near Green Bay, but even closer to the lake, this really hot stuff, I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. So it's nice to have it getting out of here for a while. Oh, yeah. Okay. Ben sends me funny emojis, and I don't get them sometimes. He's trying to explain himself. We're having a little exchange on some comments related to what Roger said. But I think the majority of people who listen to it with an objective mindset appreciated how honest, how open Rodgers was in answering questions, how he explained himself, the things that he was looking to do and his motivations behind it seemed to be what you'd want as your face of your franchise, leader of your franchise, longest tenured employee, or at least one of them. I'm sure that maybe there's some equipment guys and some scouts have been there a little longer, but one of the longest tenured employees and the most visible and most recognizable longest tenured employee. A guy who wants to give some input, who cares about it enough that he wants to have some input and he wants to be able to give his perspective because as he explained, even though some people forgot about this part, like they took what he said and then they forgot about that he also said this part where he explained the reason why he wanted some input is that he might have some different perspective than a GM who's not in the locker room or then the team president who's not in the locker room and not even all that involved in football operations. Aaron Rodgers is in the locker room. He's on the field. He's on the practice field. He hears a bunch of stuff. He sees a bunch of stuff. He knows other guys around the NFL, and that's kind of the stuff he was getting at. That with some of these free agent guys, maybe having some input would be good because, yeah, I mean, he knows these guys pretty well. He knows if some of them are interested and want to come to the Packers because players can talk to each other. And he also knows, some of the situations where some of these guys might say, look, I just really want to win a Super Bowl. So, hey, I'm willing to take a little less money to come play for an opportunity to win a Super Bowl. A lot of those things I think made sense. So if you don't think it made sense, then I don't quite get you. Okay, now Ben, yeah. Ben thought it was a great press conference. Now he's changed his tune. Oh, the Rodgers hate sets in again. Must have watched Nagler, or maybe Ben watched some of these pontificators who were spinning it all and got all whipped up about it. Or maybe Ben just changed his mind. Who knows? He'll explain himself tomorrow. We'll give him time to do that. Look, man, in this world, most of us don't know what's real with anybody these days, right? I come on here, I say stuff. Some people think I'm genuine. Some people think I'm not. To the people that think I'm not, I'd like to raise a couple of fingers to you. I never BS you guys. I joke, I jab sometimes. Sometimes, once in a while, I'll say stuff that's a little wacky. But most of the time, it's actually what I believe. Once in a while, I'll say stuff a little wacky to get a rise out of Ben or jab somebody. But you guys know when I'm playing around with that stuff. But I don't BS you guys. I don't BS anybody. I don't put crap on here like that. And Nick will give me crap about saying that. They always got to watch over those guys who say that they don't BS you, right? But I'm choosing to believe Aaron Rodgers. I'm choosing to take his words for that he meant what he said. That's what I'm choosing to believe. Number one reason is I watch it. I try to read people. Goody, I don't ever trust what he says. LaFleur, I think, is pretty straight up, but he's got to be careful, and I understand that. So he's careful with sometimes the stuff he says. Murphy, don't trust that guy at all. And Aaron Rodgers, I trust over Goody and Murphy. And this is the conflict between Goody and Murphy and Rodgers. But I think it's mostly Murphy and Rodgers with a little Goody mixed in there. All right? It's just a philosophy thing, like he said. Some people didn't understand that. He explained it better yesterday. If you have not watched the whole 31-minute press conference, you should. Watch it. Make your own decision. I implore you to do that. Because if you go and listen to Colin Cowherd, he's trying to talk about other nonsense and spin crap because he's a Rodgers hater. Skip Bayless, a Rodgers hater. Bunch of these other guys trying to whip stuff up. Look, I give Aaron Rodgers a ton of credit for stepping out, saying what he said yesterday. He didn't need to say that. The other key things that he pointed out were that really some of those things he was hoping for by having a little bit of say, by having a couple of having some opportunities to have his voice heard or be involved a little bit more. I don't think any of those things are changing at all. The philosophy is not changing for the Packers. And the thing to watch out for, right, is the new age of athlete is looking for more of those opportunities. Aaron Rodgers is kind of like a tweener, right? He's kind of a tweener. There's the old school guys, and then there's these young guys that are in now, coming in. And he's kind of in that in-between spot. But he wants to help the team come along and make some positive changes with the way they treat players. And players, the newer players, are going to want more say, or they're going to want to be a little bit treated a little bit different than this team has treated guys in the past. And they all understand it's a business, and Aaron Rodgers said that too. He's like, look, I'm not a victim here. He said that. I made a ton of money. I've got an opportunity to play this game, to play for this franchise, to be the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. He appreciates all that stuff. But this could affect the future as well. So maybe the Packers need to use this as a wake-up call, understand that one of their most important players that they've ever had on their team in the more than 100 years of the Green Bay Packers was trying to tell them quietly, hey, some of these things should be different. And if they don't make the change now, I don't know. Hopefully they make it soon, but you never know. Anyway, okay. I'm taking Rodgers for what he says. I believe what he said. I believe the way he said it. I think he has been through enough garbage with some of this stuff. And I also believe that, like I said before, Murphy's a problem. He's a retaliatory guy. He's a guy that when he doesn't get his way or stuff's not going the way he wants, he comes out and undercuts things, fires a coach, with a few games left in the season, does the stuff he does, leaks stuff out, says stuff publicly, slings some mud. That's Mark Murphy. It's the guy in charge of your and my Green Bay Packers. That pisses me off. I had enough of that guy. All right. On to a couple other things. Sorry to go on so long for that. I'm sure most of you tuned out and aren't interested, but whatever. Maybe you hung around. Okay. A little bit of other, probably even more important sports chat is related to Simone Biles and some of the things that have been put to light. And Aaron Rodgers, very aware, commented on that a little bit too. Now, when we were on the other night, I wasn't aware of the situation. I knew that she had stepped down from the Olympic team competition, but I didn't know all the specifics. I didn't hear her comments and none of that stuff at that time. I read a complete transcript in NPR. I didn't take snippets from whatever or people saying what she said or translating it or whatever. I read the full quotes of her talking about the situation. And while she didn't, specifically name some things, she just talked about mentally, she wasn't right at the time. And it's been a challenging year. We all understand that. I don't know what you guys have been through mentally. I know I've been certainly more roller coaster-ish than normal. But I also know that I really, one of the things she talked about and over in her full comments was what I thought was actually a pretty selfless thing. Now, you can look at this two ways. Some people might say, hey, you've got to power through that and, just step up and do it. And Bruce had a comment. I don't know if Bruce knew the full story or not. Don't know. Okay. I don't know who you are, but you need to go away. You're banned. Mondo, Selman, Andy. I don't know what your problem is, but you say a bunch of crazy stuff. You can go away now. I don't like you at all. You should be banned from YouTube for those comments. Get off this chat. Get off this live stream. I'm killing the chat. This guy's terrible. I don't know who this person is. This is ridiculous. I'm done with people who hate. You want to hate? Get out of here, dude. Go somewhere else. Bring your hate speech someplace else. I don't even want to see it. So I'm trying to say, before this clown gets on here and derails me with a bunch of hate speech, not okay in my video. I don't know if Bruce knew the whole situation or not. He did say something, kind of jab at Biles. The deal is, though, she was really selfless in her thought process. It was a team competition. It wasn't individual competition for her. And she felt like, based on her mental status at the time, that she would have let her team down. And because it's a different situation than some sports where you might only have a certain number of people, you've got extra people that can step in and perform the job. So she stepped down and let the other people take it. And the whole time, because she didn't want to let those other teammates down. Now that's a good teammate. You can talk about wanting to push through and all this sort of stuff, but that's a great teammate. That's my perspective on it. She's gotten some praise for what she did. She's gotten some criticism. There's always people that criticize. There's always people that will back you up. But that's my perspective on it. And Suni Lee, gold medalist by herself. Pretty impressive. My daughter loves gymnastics, so pretty excited about that. I want to talk about a couple of things I was excited about. Hey, I got to tune you guys on to one thing here. This is pretty cool. Is this person still going? I don't know who this is. This person's terrible. Get out of here. I think you finally stopped and left. Yeah. I'm going to clean that up later and take those ridiculous messages off. I couldn't figure out a way to disable the chat while I'm on live here. So I apologize. I didn't know my functions of YouTube. Ridiculous stuff, though. Bigots. I'll just say this because this clown, come on, put all this crap on here. Bigots, racists, you're not welcome here. Go somewhere else. You should really look in the mirror and figure out what kind of person you want to be. But if you're not going to change yourself, stay the heck off of this channel because we don't do that crap around here. All right. I'm going to move on to some good stuff. All right. I cried tonight. You want to know why? Not because of this clown, but because I found something. And Nico, if you check this out, you should really watch this, bro. I watched the Bucks right here. I'm going to show it to you. Oh, that's not the one I want. This one right here. All access Bucks win NBA championship. Giannis drops 50. Locker room celebration. Now it's a little bit slow going in the beginning, right? Because it's kind of after they won game 5, moving into game 6. But you get to see how the players interact with each other. You know, all the guys on the team, the guys who don't play, the guys who are the starters. You get to see a lot of candid moments. You get to see like some really cool stuff during actual game 6 from the sideline perspective and in the arena, and kind of feel what it's like and was like in Fiserv Forum. So it's an hour long. It's an hour and 9 minutes and 1 second. But I'm telling you, it's pretty awesome. And when you see how these guys interact and the team that they are, man, that's high character stuff there. And it is worth the watch. If it's a little slow in the first 15, 16 minutes, if you don't like watching guys kind of shoot around, joke around and stuff, you can kind of get to that 17, 20-minute mark, and then it picks up into game 6. But I loved all of it. And these guys are such awesome guys, great representatives of the state. Man, am I proud of not just what they accomplished, but the way they did it and the people they are. That is a team you should definitely root for and cheer for sure, even if you're not a basketball fan. That's one thing I thought the press missed. What the heck were they doing? They talked to Aaron Rodgers all yesterday, and I get it was all about Rodgers and all that stuff, right? But then, hey, Blas, how you doing? Bernard, hey, what's up? Rick O. No one asked him about the Bucks winning the he's part owner of the Bucks, and no one asked him about the Bucks winning the championship and what he thought. Like, that was a miss, press guys. Come on, what's going on? That's a big miss. Okay, hey, get this. People say when you watch like YouTubers and all this sort of stuff, right? And they're always like, okay, you got to ask for people to subscribe. You got to tell people to subscribe, but not just beg for subscriptions. You got to tell them, what can you do for them? Why should they subscribe to your channel? I'm going to tell you why. The number one reason why we need you to subscribe if you haven't, and if you have, tell other people to subscribe. Because if we get big enough, if Haven Brothers gets enough subscriptions and legitimate enough, we can be to the point where we could get a press pass for the Green Bay Packers. And if we get a press pass, can you imagine Ben and me with the ability to ask questions in post game, in week training camp? Like, come on. That would be fantastic. I would have asked that question, even though all that other stuff was going on and talked about, and the centerpiece. I would have said, hey, Aaron, I understand this all went down. The timing of it really stinks that it wasn't resolved earlier, because you didn't get a chance to be around the team that you're part owner of and the team that you've been a huge fan of during this historic NBA Finals championship. But even though that's the case, how do you feel about your Bucks winning the title? Somebody should ask him about how he felt about that. That would have been interesting to me to hear what he had to say. You know, he was paying attention. He loves basketball. Basketball is his favorite sport. He just was too short and all that good stuff. Not as good at it, better at football, so he went that direction. Good move in retrospect, right? But also, I mean, he loves the team, man. He loves the team, and he was all around it. That's a big miss by the press. Come on, you guys. They miss other stuff too. Again, I said it the other night. I want answers about who makes decisions about playing time for all these positions and the players that are on the field. At inside linebacker, the players that are on the field, the rotations, especially on the defensive side, receivers, tight ends. Who makes those decisions? None of the Green Bay media asked people that. Why not? I'd ask them that. So if you're looking for a reason to subscribe, there it is. Help us get enough subscribers so we can be legitimate enough to get a press pass for the Green Bay Packers, and we will ask all the questions that nobody asks. We will do it. And we'll name drop you guys once in a while too, because you guys are awesome. All right. But our merch, we don't have any merch yet. Double Doink, hey, how you doing? Bernard, you're right. Bernard, Rodgers has 2 rings now with the Bucks ring. Hopefully he gets a third this year. That would be awesome. I know. I was talking about it before you got in here, and then this guy got on here. It was ridiculous. I don't know what the heck is going on. I still got to delete a whole bunch of comments. I'm going to get to that in a second. But I'm distracted. When I try to do that, I can't talk, think, keep my thoughts together because I'm really distracted by this. Ooh, there. I got rid of him. Get out of here, stupid Mondo, Sam and Andy. Whatever's wrong with you. Bigoted jerkwad. You can head for the hills. Ridiculous. Hey, we got Viking Mo tomorrow night. I'm going to preview that for you. But we're going to get his thoughts on all of this. Cobb is back. Bernard, you're right. How do you feel about that? Anybody got some thoughts on Randall Cobb being back? How do you guys feel? I think there's some benefit. And then when I learned more about the tie-in, how Amari Rodgers' dad was Cobb's coach in college, right? He knows Cobb. He's been a longtime friend, a mentor. I mean, everybody's saying, oh, this Randall Cobb coming back is all Aaron Rodgers. They're just doing it to appease Aaron Rodgers. They invested a lot to get Amari Rodgers. You know, they traded up, they moved around. They went after him and got him in the 3rd round. He looks really promising. And maybe that's part of the decision too. To be like, hey, Randall Cobb knows this kid, can help teach him some of the ropes of playing slot, can still contribute, helps us in other ways, but can be an awesome mentor for this kid. So, hey, we'll take him. I think it's going to be, even if Randall Cobb doesn't have like a big statistical season or a huge impact on the field, I think he'll have a big impact for this kid, for Amari Rodgers. So, and he's a great veteran presence. And Devontae talked about it yesterday. Ooh, that's something we got to talk about. Devontae's presser yesterday. Ooh, that was rough. That was eye-opening. I'll probably save most of that for talking with Ben. I want to know what Ben thinks about, but we might get into it a little bit. Let's see what else you guys got to say. Good for the locker room for Cobb. Yeah. Blas said he was very sad when he left. Cobb is awesome. Okay, he's not awesome. He's still awesome. He's cool. I mean, he's not a dynamic breakaway player, game breaker player, but you don't need him to be. You need a reliable guy, and you also need a guy, like I said, pointed out last night, who knows where to sit down when he's open. I talked about that difference. Scramble drills and things like that right now, for the last couple of years, a bunch of these receivers don't know how to just stop when they should and sit down and be open. They kind of flow and run with the coverage. And sometimes when the coverage is over pursuing because Rodgers rolls a certain direction, you just need to sit down and be open. And Randall Cobb gets that. Jordy Nelson got that. A bunch of older guys Packers used to have, experienced guys got that. These younger guys got to pick it up too. Cobb can help them out in that front. And Devontae is excited to have him back, so it's good for him too. And I think, yeah, he helps Amari Rodgers. But okay, let's see. Rick says if he helps the team go out and just have fun, play loose, this is a good year. Shouldn't be a big cap hit. It's not. I mean, they got the Texans to pay $3 million of his salary, and they only gave up a 6th-round pick for him, so it's not a big loss. It's. I think it's worth the acquisition for many, many reasons, but mostly to get some more experience in that receiver room. Yeah, find the flow holes. You got it, Blas. Hey, Blas, your comments yesterday were great. I'm gonna wait till Ben comes on. We'll talk about him a little bit tomorrow night. But welcome back, sir. And you know, our thoughts are with you with some of the stuff you've been going through. So glad to talk a little Packers and have you back on the circuit. Okay, man, that guy just really derailed me early on. I don't know what the heck was going on, but I'm timing that dude out if I ever see him again. Guy's ridiculous. Avoid this guy on YouTube, Mondo Selman Andy. Bigoted jerkwad. He can stay whatever hole he came out of, he can go back into it. Sorry, man. I don't play around with haters. I don't play around with racists, bigots. Don't play around. That's when the monster are going to come out of me. So people still ripping on Rodgers. They're going to. Some of them are. Bernard, it's okay. But if I'm telling you, if people objectively watch the full press conference, don't take the snippets that were maybe out of context a little bit. Watch the full press conference, the way Aaron Rodgers talks. I think he's just trying to be as straight up as he could. And at the same time, made a lot of really good points. Plus, he name dropped Micah Hyde as being one of the guys the Packers should have never let go. 100% right, Aaron Rodgers. 100% right. Didn't even offer Micah Hyde a contract. What? Come on. All right, I'm doing the Lindy Infante headset tonight. Thanks for jumping on here. I wasn't sure if anybody would come on, but I'm glad to see you and chat with a bunch of you people. It's good to catch up with you. All right, we do have to be a little concerned, though, about Devontae, man. Woo! Anybody check out Devontae's interview from yesterday? Holy moly. Okay, the telling part is this. The telling part for me was this. And I've watched a lot of press conferences. I usually watch them all. He was asked early on kind of about the contract situation. I think that was right away. And he went on and on and on and on about it in his first response to the first question. And then he revisited that point about the contract negotiations, you know, how the team and him had time to work this out. It still wasn't worked out. It's been months going on. But that was telling to me, I mean, it's pretty much booked that Davante Adams is not going to be back after this year. He doesn't really want to pick up negotiations during the season. He feels like he has shown the team enough that they should want to pay him as the top receiver in the league. And he wants to be a priority. And he's not pleased that it's not come across that way. So if you haven't watched Adams' presser, you should watch it. If you thought Davante Adams was going to be coming back, I think there's about a 0.5% chance of that happening. It was rough. I mean, he wants to be the top paid guy. That is important to him. Some guys, that's not their goal, right? In contract negotiations, they want to be fairly compensated for what they've done, you know, for their status in the league. They want to be fairly compensated, but that's not necessarily some guy's number one goal, but that seems like that is his number one priority. And that's okay, but that's not the way to stay on the Packers. So I don't know. What's man. I feel confident he'll be a professional and go out and play hard this year, and he's going to give it his all on the field and all that. But wow, he was very, very focused on the fact that this deal was not done. He would not take less money, not take a hometown discount. All that stuff was very clearly stated yesterday, and some of it many, many, many times, just like I went over it many, many, many times to make his points, just like I made my point by repeating it several times. The trick to no, just kidding. Just kind of got caught in that spiral, but I'm just I'm reliving the presser in my mind, and I'm like, I could not believe how long he went on about it. It's striking, really. He did say a couple other really interesting things, Davante Adams. One, you know, he talked about, and I didn't even think about this, but so he's been on the team for 4 NFC title games now. So in his 8 years, this is like his 8th year with the Packers, and in 7 years, he was in 4 NFC championship games and lost every one of them. Now, I understand some other players on the team have gone through that same experience with him, but they, like Rodgers, at least won one and got to the Super Bowl and won that. But he's not had the disappointment that Adams has had, where he's gone 4 times and come up short 4 times. So Adams was I think that was a pretty cool statement too, to give his mindset, because he talked about a lot of guys, you know, it's their first time there, you know, they're all excited they made it to the NFC Championship game, and he's like, no, I'm not excited. We got to win this game, then I get excited, because I've been through this before and I don't get excited yet. So that's his mindset. Hopefully it gets him over the hump. Bernard says Rodgers is Kobe of the NFL. Okay. Can say that. Double Doink says that's where you have to give it to Brady. He's cheap. Yeah, I mean, true. Give Brady some credit there, but also, there's some different factors I think that was interesting about, especially his time in New England, but even in Tampa Bay, it was that he knew that the team would go out and spend money. And the other part is he knew that free agents, guys would want to come there to try to play for a ring and take a little less money to do so, which are some of the things Aaron Rodgers was just talking about yesterday as well. Maybe some of these guys would come for a 1-year cheaper deal to try to get a championship. But if you're not talking to Aaron Rodgers or finding out who some of those guys are or listening to him, you don't have that information. And I think that's what a lot of it was about. He doesn't want control. He just wants to be able to share some information, some perspective. And in some cases, maybe that influences them a little bit or helps them make a decision. But I don't know. The other thing with Brady is he had lots of ways to make money outside of football too. So, and his wife's rich and all that good stuff. So, all factors. Plus, he's played like 40 years. I mean, you make some money over 40 years, or 20 some years, whatever. But you get the point. But it's true. He did always kind of take a lower contract, but he also did know that his team would spend the money. And the Packers for many, many years were well below the cap because they wouldn't spend the money. And then now they got this really reverse bad cap situation, had to shuffle a bunch of stuff around. You know how that goes. Goody sounds salty. Maybe. I don't know. That guy just, I just don't trust him at all. I don't trust what he says. I don't trust what he does. Again, I think that was interesting. Another interesting comment or piece about what Rodgers said was that in the conversations, because he detailed it out from February, March, April, whatever, even though the Packers said some different things about restructuring and some other things, there was never any talk about anything beyond 2021. So anything beyond this upcoming season. After the guy was the MVP, there was never any change and never any talk about that. And that's what really halted the brakes on things for him. And then when they finally did come back to him wanting to do an extension and stuff like that, that was way down the road, end of May or whatever it was. And they'd already shown what they wanted to do. They had already shown their hand, the Packers, that they weren't interested, that they do have some sort of plan. And the plan is to move on from him after this year, which a lot of us thought that was the case. But then I think they realized they're in a little bit of trouble. And so then they tried to extend it out, or where, maybe it was more of a thing related to the stories getting out and other things, whatever. I don't know. Trying to calm down the media storm, calm the fan base. But either way, some of the things he was looking for have not changed. He was clear about that too. But he's back to play because he wants to play. And because he talked to a bunch of old teammates who are retired and realized that wasn't for him yet. And the Packers hold his rights. So he's a Packer this year. The best thing to do is enjoy it. Best thing to do is hope they go for it this year. And then after the season, who the heck knows what's going to happen. There are going to be a lot of changes like we talked about the other night with Bruce and Eckes. Lots and lots and lots and lots of changes. Before I go, I got to give you a couple of quick flashes of pictures. Things that make you happy. Make me happy. All right. Here's one. Look at this one. These guys make me happy. Countervoid, great band. It's completely unrelated to the show or Packers, but it's Ben, Countervoid band, great music. Brad, Countervoid band, awesome guys, awesome music. You should check them out. Oh, there's some. Ooh, I can't show you that. Holy moly. That was unintentional. That's from a live performance we did a couple years ago. Might do another live performance coming up in September. Should be fun. Here's another one for you before we go, because people like pictures. This is a great photograph of our man, Aaron Jones. The 10K wave as he signed this piece. 10K wave. That little wave right there cost him 10 grand. But it was all worth it because it gets Cowboys and rubbing it in, and it was so good. And he was a monster with 4 touchdowns that day. And the final picture for tonight, I showed it the other night. It's just so impressive. It's my man, Brook Lopez. He's an awesome dude too. Gosh, he's super goofy, but he's an awesome guy. Great guy to have in the Bucks. Get out. Man, he's up there on that. I love it. 33 points. 33 points as well in the conference finals to help the Bucks get on the right track and finish that off. So, all right, you guys are awesome. Stay well, be well. We'll be back tomorrow night with Viking Mo, me and Ben, Viking Mo. Hopefully a bunch of you chiming in on the chat. We're going to hear from Viking Mo what he thinks about Rodgers being back, because I think he was really hoping that Rodgers wouldn't be back. And Kirk Cousins was getting excited. I might be the best quarterback in the division, and maybe the Vikings are going to... Oh. Now the Vikings still have a pretty good team, but Rodgers being back changes the dynamic substantially for those other division opponents. We'll hear what Viking Mo says tomorrow night. Okay, guys.